And we're back on DemocraTalk with the O'Sullivan brothers.
I'm Peter.
And I still am Paul. And anybody who can figure out who's who.
We were talking about, in the last hour, we were talking about
dirty campaigning.
And what you say, you can't unring the bell. I like that. That was good. You can't unring the bell when you say something like the O'Sullivan talk show hosts are unbelievably handsome guys.
You can't unthink that.
You can't unthink that.
There it is. We have a caller on line 1. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, this is Bill.
Hi, Bill.
How are you guys?
We're talking on the radio. How are you?
Are you one of these right-wing bunch?
No, we're actually DemocraTalk would imply Democrats.
Oh.
We're liberal Democrats who think that there's a way to manage this country better than it's being managed. And our question to you is, do you agree or not?
Well, it'd be hard not to agree. I don't care what your political persuasion is. It certainly hasn't been managed at all, at least on behalf of the citizens.
How's that?
Well, I think everything has been organized in terms of the present administrative principles to benefit the large corporations and big money and all of that. You see the stock market's doing very well, but the ordinary man of the street, the middle class, is taking peanuts or not having a job at all.
So that makes you want to vote for a Democrat? What are they going to do for you?
Well, that's a little problem for me because I don't see where the Democrats are really, really going. I don't really see a message. And my belief is that the Democrats need to essentially provide some capability, some way of demonstrating that they actually can govern.
Yeah.
Forget the principles. One of the big things
Forget
is
the principles.
Well, I mean, I don't mean that. I mean, forget the concepts or whatever goes on here in terms of what your political persuasion is. What's required is to convince people you know how to govern.
Who's the last person you voted for?
Last person I voted for? With great reluctance, I voted for John Kerry.
You did?
I hated him.
Why did you hate John Kerry? I actually voted for John Kerry, and I was very happy that this guy's a war. You know, he was a war hero, very smart guy. Obviously understood what it's like to be in war, and we're at war, whether we like it or not. How is it that wasn't a good pick for us?
Well, I don't think the war has anything to do with it. The fact that you drive a boat down the river doesn't mean you know how to be president. The issue with Kerry, that
the boats had guns on them, though.
I don't care what they had on them.
Okay.
Anyway, they had some really good men. There's no question about that.
Uh-huh.
At any rate, Kerry was one of the financiers with Gebhardt of a program which I saw the guy who ran it, and that was to take down Dean.
Okay.
During the primary.
Primary. Mm-hmm.
And it's just an indication of the underhanded way that Kerry and Gebhardt behaved, and they kept it silent, never told anybody or anything, and they went out to nail another Democrat. And I think that's unconscionable. I think that's dishonest, and I don't think he deserves to be a leader in anything. I wouldn't vote for him for the mayor of Santa Clara.
So you see the Democrats fighting among each other and losing the message and doing something a little bit unethical.
Losing what message? The message hasn't been conveyed yet. First of all, they have to get a message, but one of the things... Okay, let me ask you a question. Other than it seems to me, other than Hillary Clinton,
yes,
who is out there? Kerry's supposed to run again, and you know, hell, I'd do anything. You know, I'd blow up if I could, so he couldn't run. But at any rate, who else is there out there?
Well, don't say those things when he's president, because then you'll get arrested and thrown in jail.
Yeah, I know that.
Well, the current star, as they're calling him a rock star, which really bothers me because I think he's a thoughtful, serious guy, and a guy that I would vote for president today, tomorrow, or in 2 years is Barack Obama.
Okay, well, so why what's his message?
Well, his message is really, as far as I have heard, is thoughtfulness. Is actually thinking things through.
Oh yeah, he's a bright guy. He's had no experience.
Yeah, so he hasn't had a chance to screw it up.
Yeah, well, that's all right. We get lots of chances.
How much experience
to do
did
that
Kennedy
in our
have?
life.
Yeah, how much? Well, Kennedy, and quite frankly, how many people have had, other than presidents who get reelected because they're incumbents, how many people have had experience having been president? Nobody. You walk into the job without experience.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, I'm a retired businessman, and I can tell you that the issues that he faces are really who he chooses, because the staff is the people who do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's able to choose wisely and get people to assist him in doing what goes on, I think he has the leadership skills to carry on.
Well, that was Reagan's theme. Reagan,
right.
His whole idea was if he appoints really good guys, he can kind of sit back and cruise.
No, you can't do that. You still have to provide the leadership. But the key is that in the high-tech business, you can hire one individual and another, and the difference is 1,000 or 10,000 to 1 in terms of what you are able to accomplish. You have to be very careful of who you choose. And to do that, you've got to find people with the same value system that you have, so that when you leave them, they continue to perform in a way that you wish to perform. So my suggestion is that the Democrats put together some kind of a straw cabinet of strong, capable people who can actually build a consensus that they know how to govern.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the advantages that George Bush had when he ran, because he had this experienced old guys from his dad's, and everybody thought, well, hell, they know how to run everything, and they do. They know how to run everything. They just run it in the wrong direction.
Thanks for your call. He makes very good points. One of the problems with some of the points that he's making is that when you set up a staff before the election, you set up incredible huge targets for people to take off on before you've even gotten elected into office. So that is problematic. You kind of want to get in there as your own person. And it's interesting that he says he has no experience, and of course he doesn't know that much about Barack Obama. But Barack was a legislator in the Illinois state level, and I'm not all too convinced that former governors, even if they come from Texas, know how to govern well. What do you think, Peter?
Well, I'm not sure. We're going to ask William. You're on with the Democrat. What do we call this?
DemocraTalk.
DemocraTalk.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Good.
Where are you calling from?
Hermosa Beach.
Wonderful. Love Hermosa Beach.
I want to see what your guys' take is on the Rush Limbaugh's coming down on Michael J. Fox and his supposed acting on behalf of his cause.
What do you think about it?
The guy's got a disease. He's dying. He's been an actor for years. It doesn't seem to me to really, I just don't see the motivation for him to go up there and act like a spaz. On the other hand, I don't see why somebody'd come down on a guy that's dying of disease and is trying to further his cause.
Okay, I cannot honestly, William, I can't tell which of the two you're talking about. You got one guy acting like a spaz and another guy. Who's who?
Is Rush the spaz, I think Rush was actually faking his having to have prescription drugs to turn himself on, and I also think he faked the deafness.
I thought he was blind.
Well, that's a whole other issue about the Viagra that we really can't get into on this family-oriented radio.
If you put your hand right in front of his eyes, does
Look,
he blink?
Rush made a terrible mistake in how he approached this.
Before we go too far, what did he do?
What Rush has done is he's claimed that Michael J. Fox acted when he cut a commercial that was in favor of a political candidate who is winning, by the way, a couple of political candidates, and for a proposition in favor of stem cell research. And what Rush has done is he's tried to discredit, and this is typical, and it gets right back to our dirty tricks campaigns, is he tries to discredit the messenger. He didn't discuss the issue at all relative to whether Michael J. Fox was making an accurate statement in his commercial. What he did is he attacked him personally, and that is unfortunately a feature in American politics that really needs to be driven out, and as our last caller had mentioned.
Okay, so that was a good hour, or a good segment. We determined that Michael J. Fox is the spaz. That was important.
Yeah.
Rush Limbaugh, I don't think we characterized him. Did you have a characterization?
He's a faker.
He's a faker. So we got a faker and a spaz, and somehow that's a political discussion. Neither one of them run for office. Neither one of them are in office. But we did have a very serious discussion around Barack Obama and some of the attributes that he brings as a candidate, and getting back to the whole election that's coming up. In the final segment, we're really going to try and wrap a couple of these things together in terms of where we're going in
we
politics.
need to talk a little bit about immigration, because that's a big stick that Republicans are
Why?
hitting
You just put a wall up and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we'll come back. We'll talk about immigration and any other issues that maybe some of our callers have in the final segment of